Let's start. Mr. Vice Chairman, we are discussing the railway budget today. This railway budget will open a new chapter in the history of this house, a chapter which is of a very discouraging nature. The budget has been presented for the first time in this house by minority government, so the people of the country do not find any improvement or any future with this budget, because in every budget there is political will behind the budget. But in this budget we do not see any political will for the development of railways in the country. Para. The Indian Railways are the biggest public enterprise in the country. It is the largest in Asia and the second largest in the whole world, managed by a single management. It plays a very vital role in the field of economic development of the country. Every sector of the society, be it rich or poor, every man or woman is affected by the performance of the railway department. Para. Madam, this budget generally covers half of the economic of the country and affects the people in their multifarious problems. In this budget, the railway minister claims that he has given relief to the weaker sections, which is not true. The exemption in the railway freight for the essential commodities is of peripheral nature. Para. This kind of exemption is a poor consolation, because these articles are already bearing fairly heavy freight charges. I had considered the railway minister to be a very dynamic person earlier. Now that impression has been taken away from my mind by his presenting this kind of a budget in this house. He has committed a great mistake by increasing the passenger fares and railway freights at a time when the rate of inflation is already high. The restricted increase is also bound to affect the weaker sections of society. Para. Another glaring factor is increase in regional imbalances. For example, the southeastern region has been badly neglected in many respects so far as railway development is concerned. I do not want to encourage the feeling of regionalism, but in this budget this matter is so glaring that I cannot ignore mentioning it on the floor of the house. While new railway lines are being opened every year in the northern states, even sanctioned projects and sanctioned lines in Odisha are being stopped or delayed for years together. Para. Madam, as you know, the Paradip port was started 20 years back in order to connect Paradip port with the hinterland of ore mining areas. A railway line was started some 16 years back, but that line has not yet been completed on the plea that this portion of the line is not viable. This line is meant for carrying iron ore from the mining areas to the Paradip port for export purposes so far as the railway map of India is concerned. You kindly have a glance over the map of Odisha. You can easily imagine how Odisha was neglected before independence. Odisha had got two lines. Fortunately or unfortunately, one is the coastal line. The Britishers wanted to connect Calcutta and Madras, so they had the coastal railway line in the western sector, the Britishers wanted to connect Bombay and Calcutta. So, fortunately, some portion of the Bombay to Calcutta line went through Orissa in the western sector. But apart from these two lines, nothing has been done, Madam. The Southeastern Railway headquarters is situated in Howrah. Howrah is a place which does not belong to the Southeastern Railway. The people of Orissa have been claiming and demanding since long to shift his headquarters from Howrah to Orissa. Because the major portion of the Southeastern Railway is in Orissa, but up till now the government has not taken any steps to shift these headquarters to Orissa. Last year in the Orissa Assembly, there was a unanimous resolution in the House to shift this headquarters from Calcutta to Bhubaneswar or Kotak. But nobody has given any importance to this demand. In the last elections, we faced a lot of trouble. Of course, the government in Orissa now has promised to the people that it will fulfill this demand, a long-standing demand, which Orissa has been demanding for 40 years to shift this headquarters from Calcutta to Bhubaneswar. It is to be seen how the government to Orissa and the government of India help in the shifting of the headquarters in Orissa Para. If you look to the present transport system of the railways from Delhi to Bhubaneswar, the state capital, there are two superfast trains. One is the Nilachal Express and the other is Puri Express. They have been named superfast, but while the Puri Express takes 32 hours at the minimum from Delhi to Bhubaneswar, the Nilachal Express takes 36 hours. While these trains have been named as superfast trains, actually they are super slow trains. There is another train coming from Puri. It is named as Utkal Express. We call it Bharat Darshan train. This train starts from Puri in the morning and it again enters Orissa the next day. It starts from Puri, goes to Kharagpur and then to Tatanagar, and next day at about 2 o'clock again enters Orissa. It touches West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, and then come to Delhi. So this is perhaps the national integration train. It takes 52 hours to reach Delhi Para. Now I would make one submission to the Honorable Railway Minister regarding the retiring members of the House. Since long they are demanding railway pass for their journey up till now. The government has not considered it. I would request the Railway Minister, if he considers this case, he will be remembered, because it is their long-standing demand on behalf of the ex-MPs Association. So I request him to consider this demand favorably and grant them railway passes like retired railway employees. Stop. Thank you.